What's going on, champs and champions? It's FireMonkey here, and in today's YouTube video, I want to talk about where I see Fortnite going in 2026 and kind of some of the stuff I've noticed with the trends that go on in this game in terms of Epic Games' official things. Now, we're not going to be focusing on cosmetics at all in this video, because while we could, talk about, oh, we could potentially get this collaboration or that one, the main focal point of this video is where is the actual game going? The gameplay, the things that actually matter, not what collaboration is coming to the game next year. And I want to start it off by showing a trend line we've kind of noticed in the previous years, ever since we ended up getting the Fortnite Big Bang event. If you guys recall, when that event actually ended up happening, we slowly got 3 new modes. We got Lego Fortnite Odyssey, we got ourselves Fortnite Festival, and we got ourselves Rocket Racing, and all 3 of those were marked as must-succeed priorities. Of course, Rocket Racing kind of fell out over time, or I guess kind of really quickly. Lego Fortnite Odyssey is kind of its own beast. I'm not really for sure how that one's doing right now. And then there's a lot of people upset with where Fortnite Festival has currently been going due to FOMO and all the other type of stuff going on there. But it is a mixed bag overall in terms of all those modes, with Rocket Racing kind of being the only one I guess we could really qualify as of right now as a dead mode. But first off, the main thing to focus on here is the fact that last year, I guess it's not even last year, but in 2023, we got 3 brand new modes in the game. And then the next year in 2024, we got 3 new modes in the game. We got ourselves Fortnite Ballistic, Lego Fortnite Brick Life, and then we also ended up getting Fortnite OG as a permanent new mode. Now, I think we've kind of noticed this trend when it comes to new modes in Fortnite, that if it isn't really combat focused, it doesn't really do too hot overall. This year, for example, and actually, I wonder, yeah, actually it was this year. Okay, so we did kind of get 3 modes now I think about it. But this year we ended up getting 3 modes in the game. We got Lego Fortnite Expeditions, which ended up dying real quickly. I rest in peace Expeditions. That was technically one of the new modes. We also ended up getting Blitz Royale, which was originally supposed to be a limited time only mode. It wasn't supposed to be a permanent thing, but it was so popular that they extended it and then made it a permanent mode. And then now Delulu as a 3rd mode, which also was going to be a limited time thing that they ended up kind of making a permanent thing for everyone to enjoy. It now has its own quest tab in the quest menu. I wonder if we go over here we can see it. No, we can't actually see it in there, but it became a permanent mode. And originally, with all of these limited time only modes being planned, there was supposed to be a 4th mode this year, being the Warner Brothers X Fortnite mode, which a lot of people speculated to kind of be, some sort of like multiverses rebuilt in Fortnite type of mode, but something ended up happening, regardless of all the leaks and everything, and that one ended up not actually coming out. So it was interesting to kind of see how overall we ended up getting these different modes added to the game. And for the past few years, we've gotten 3 different modes. We had mode 1, mode 2, mode 3. 2023, we had 3 modes in 2024 and 3 modes, almost 4 in 2025. And I think that's what Epic Games' main focus is, releasing 3 brand new game modes every single year, as long as they can, as long as they don't have any last minute issues or whatever else, in order to kind of build out this Fortnite metaverse where they want Fortnite to be more than just a battle royale platform. But we've kind of noticed time and time again a certain trend with Epic Games, especially with Fortnite, where they get somewhat annoyed, in my personal opinion, about the modes working, because they don't want to be a fighting game, right? They want to be this Lego Fortnite Odyssey, they want to be this Lego Fortnite Expeditions, they want to be all this type of other stuff, but the only modes that seem to do really, really well for them long term have been Fortnite Battle Royale, Fortnite Reload, Fortnite Blitz Royale, and then we have other situations where things like Fortnite OG kind of just slowly die out over time. Maybe, people got their nostalgia fill and then just stopped caring, or whatever the other reason might be. There is a lot of weird stuff that kind of goes on with Fortnite and with, these different modes, and I feel like it somewhat makes Epic Games a little upset to see these other modes fail, because internally, they have a lot of the stuff marked as must-succeed priorities, where they have to do well. And, when we start getting leaks and rumors here and there where people are like, oh, we're going to end up getting Rocket League in Fortnite, we're going to end up getting, Fall Guys in Fortnite, we're going to end up getting all these other games that are available on other platforms like Steam, for example, built into Fortnite, it becomes this weird thing where it's like, I get Epic Games wants Fortnite to be this metaverse. I mean, Tim Sweeney even mentioned before, or maybe it was something that was mentioned by someone else at Epic, how they want Fortnite to be a platform where you can search the web, you can do anything. They want it to be the biggest metaverse out there, where it's not just for games, but you could also use it as a replacement to like Google Chrome, for example. That is kind of the focus that they've kind of shifted to, and I think that's what they kind of want to continue going towards, but they're held back by certain things. They're held back by Battle Royale being seen as the main core part of Fortnite, instead of all these other modes that they try releasing over time. And honestly, for someone like me, I wish we wouldn't get 3 modes every single year, right? I hope the rumors of, oh, Rocket Racing or Fall Guys coming to Fortnite, you know, I hope those are false, just because I don't want people who already purchased those games, for example, Rocket League, and own them on other platforms like Steam, to be cheated out of something that they purchased because Epic Games wants Fortnite to be this metaverse type thing, and Fortnite isn't available on Steam or anything like that, right? It's like, why take away choices from the consumer because you want this all to be in a core centralized platform that you don't even want to be seen as a gaming platform, right? You want it to be seen as a creation engine in a way, right? They want it to be something where you could go ahead and make your games or play your games similar to a Roblox type experience, but while also being able to search the web like you're a web browser, like you're using Google Chrome or something. And I kind of think that's where their focal point for 2026 is going to be. Could I be wrong? Yes, but based on the stuff that they've publicly mentioned, I feel like they have this focus on not just being a game, but being this platform, this everything app where you can do whatever you want. You know, they've already had the whole communities tab added recently, which is kind of like their own form of Twitter, I guess you would say, or their own form of whatever else. And I really feel like that's their main focus that they're going to continue working on next year in order to make this game into the biggest experience they want it to be. Now, of course, we're still going to be getting a lot of collaborations. Battle Royale is still going to be getting there. Battle Royale is still going to be getting updates, of course. But I do think that Epic Games wishes they weren't just known mainly as a Battle Royale experience or the game you go to whenever you want to play as Goku with Rick Sanchez and whatever other skins that have released in the item shop, Kim Kardashian, or whatever else, right? But could I be a little pessimistic about this? Yes, you could take this as a very pessimistic outlook. Do I want Fortnite to succeed? Yes, I think there's definitely a lot of good areas for this game to succeed. I know there's a lot of people who love Fortnite and love just playing the different modes, but at the same time, I do personally feel like when it comes to Epic Games, they kind of have a weird priority set for how they want stuff to actually work in their game, and they kind of focus too hard on being everything. And it feels like in some cases, it actually makes certain experiences feel a little bit lackluster. And then we've had issues before where, for example, we had like Fortnite Imposters. Epic Games said they're going to stop working on Fortnite Imposters and they vaulted the game mode entirely so they could focus on other things in Fortnite. And then we look at how the modern Epic Games ecosystem works for Fortnite, and we see stuff like Rocket Racing being completely dead, but still playable. I think it might actually be more dead than how Imposters was back in the day, before we had ranked modes for literally every single playlist that ever existed. So it's like, if that was their belief back then, that's like, oh, we should get rid of these modes so we can focus on other things, even though they weren't really even updating Rocket Racing back then. I mean, they weren't really even updating Imposters back then. Why is some of their newer modes that they don't really update, such as Rocket Racing, still in existence? They're not developing anything, but, you know, if they had the same mindset they had with Imposters, shouldn't that be removed? I don't know. But, you know, with that said, I feel like I've yapped a little bit too much here. I definitely think 2026 is going to be a year focused on, you know, not only just releasing new content or collaborations, whatever else, but also focused on all the other parts of the game, you know, being able to have new battle passes, but also having more actual game modes built in here. And I'm going to be honest here, I don't want to turn this into like a rant over Epic Games bad grr over and over again, but I do feel like, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here in the comments, I feel like Epic Games kind of has this focus recently of build every game mode possible, make Fortnite the everything app, and then call it a day. Not so much build all these different game modes and make them really good. I feel like the more game modes they're getting in the game, the more kind of crowded it gets, to the point, oh, okay, but to the point where we end up having a situation where every game mode kind of gets less and less over the years because of them kind of spreading everything across all of these different modes. And we already know we're going to be getting stuff like the Disney mode next year, so I'm just curious, how is this game going to evolve into the future? With that said, however, I hope champs and champions enjoyed today's YouTube video. Let's hope for another year where they go a little bit back on some of these, you know, play daily challenges and stuff like that, because I'm going to be honest here, I think some of the changes that we've gotten recently, such as the Winterfest cabin, you know, having only one present a day, if you miss out on a day or you don't claim a present for a certain day, you could potentially miss out on actual rewards. I think that's a bad thing, and then I think other situations going on, such as the Golden Llama quest, are just made to try getting your attention and having you playing Fortnite for the most amount of time possible instead of making a good experience. It just feels like a cheap way to get player counts higher. Until next time, however, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, feel free to agree or disagree with me, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow with another upload. So until then, peace out.